You, buy a fucking house from me. Tuesday.com. If you don't know how, go to Tuesday.com and ask me. I'm going to tell you why. I bought a pair of Jordans 10 years ago, or like 8 years ago or something. I think the retail on them was like $140 plus tax, whatever. So I'll say $150, right? I just sold them on eBay for 25 bucks. Say I didn't buy the Jordans and I would have kept the cash. Those shoes are no longer $140. Now they're, I think, $220, $225. It was some Jordan 4s. So that means that if I would have saved the money, because saving doesn't work either, I would have had to use more money to buy those same shoes that I bought all those years ago. So what is the trick? You buy a house, because the house keeps its value, right? You buy the shoes, they lose their value. You keep the cash, it loses its value. You buy a house, they say the market crashes 20%. Okay, you lost 20%, but you still, most of the value's still there, and then you get to live in it, or you rent it out and have it pay for itself, or at least pay for most of it. But it's like a forced savings account. Yeah, Tuesday.com. TOOSDAE.com. Hey, all right, my bad. I lost it on the last one for a little bit. I cussed a little bit, but Tuesday here. I'm gonna tell you why you need to buy a house. The statistics are something like 90% of people don't have assets. An asset is I don't know, something that's worth money. So like if you buy like I used in my previous example, a pair of Jordans, it's got to be a very special one of them. But for 99% of Jordans, they're not going to be worth anything after a while. You can't give it to your kids. You can, if you have a pair of Jordans that's 10 years old, they start crumbling depending on the material that they are. I know because a lot of my shoes crumbled from just storing them away. It's terrible. Like a 2006 Silverado, right? You can give that to your kids. You could put 200,000 miles on it. A new Silverado, you can't put 200,000 miles on it anymore. They're not made to last that long. A house, you can pass it on. A piece of gold, you can pass it on. A piece of silver, you know what I mean? That's something that's of value. So that's why you need to buy a house, because most people, they're not worried, because you go to job, you get paid, you pay your bills, and that's just like an everyday thing. But eventually something happens and you need to have some kind of value. You need to have some kind of money for an emergency or something. And you can go and sell that piece of gold. You can't go and sell a car that you bought 20 years. Say you buy a Silverado right now. A new Silverado is like, what, over 50 grand? They're like, just for the most basic one, it's like $50,000 for a Silverado. Say you bought that a couple years ago, and right now you have an emergency. You go sell that Silverado, you're probably gonna get half of that money for the Silverado. And if you wait more, it's gonna go down even more. But say you bought a piece of gold or a piece of real estate, right? Something of value like that, and you have an emergency, that's an asset that has value. You sell it, and say you spent $1,000 on a piece of gold. Now it's probably worth $2,000. But I'm just saying, you get your money out of it. It's not like you spent $1,000 and you go sell it. Now you're gonna only get 500. Or say you keep $1,000 in your bank account. You used to be able to buy a bag of chips, a big bag of chips, for like $1. That same bag of chips is like $5 now. So the money loses its value too. That's why you go buy a house. Tuesday.com. If you don't know how, ask me. TOOSDAE.com.